It is my pleasure now, though, to introduce Gaby Herrera, our scholar speaker who I think is going to be the highlight of the evening. I know this already. I'm so excited you get a chance to hear from her. Gaby went to Wheaton High School and graduated in 2011. I had the privilege of meeting Gaby in 2012, a few months after I started. And I don't want to give too much of her story away, but I have to say that when I met Gaby, it really helped me understand that CDI is a family, and she's going to share more about that with you now. So, Gaby, come on up. Gaby's father is also here with us tonight, so we're pleased to have him as well. Thank you so much for coming.
I remember when I was little, my dad held my small, delicate hands within his large, cracked, and calloused ones. He said to me, "Gaby, your mom and I worked so hard so that someday you can have better opportunities than we did, so that you can have a better life." My parents were the ones who instilled in me from a very young age the importance of education and the idea of ascending the ladder. So step by step, I started to climb. I took as many honors and advanced placement classes as I could, took college courses offered by my high school, and participated in leadership opportunities. CDI came along in 2010 and walked me through the college application process, giving my parents and myself the support, guidance, and peace of mind we so desperately needed. Thanks to CDI, I ended up attending a small, private women's college that I had never heard about, but fell in love with as soon as I stepped on campus, Sweetbriar College. While it was evident that my upbringing was vastly different from the majority of my affluent peers, I wasn't going to let that discourage me. I was determined to work twice as hard, leave my mark, and make my family proud. Sweetbriar College allowed me to break out of my comfort zone and serve as a leader. I was an honors program student council representative, Spanish tutor, resident advisor, academic affairs committee representative, and peer mentor. I maintained a high GPA while working several campus jobs and received many awards, including the Ann Gary Pennell Merit Scholarship, which gave me the opportunity to travel and work on a grant project with one of my best friends. Although I excelled, there were times when I became very homesick or overwhelmed with the course load. During those times, I would pick up the phone and call my mom. She was always one of the biggest supporters and would let me cry it out over the phone and offer words of wisdom and encouragement. In 2012, halfway through my sophomore year, my world changed drastically when my biggest cheerleader, my mother, was diagnosed with breast cancer. Despite chemotherapy, surgeries, and radiation therapy, her cancer quickly progressed and metastasized to her brain. It was at the start of my junior year that I received the dreaded phone call that her health had deteriorated further. I knew what I had to do. Without hesitation, I withdrew from my classes, took a leave of absence, and with a heavy heart, I drove 200 miles home. I spent the next months with hospice nurses, caring for my mom, while my dad worked long days to make ends meet. In January of 2014, my worst nightmare came true. My mother passed away. I was just 20 years old. It was an incredibly difficult time for my dad and myself. However, I was thankful for all of the love and support we received from family members, my congregation, friends, classmates, faculty, and CDI. I distinctly recall turning around and scanning the room during my mother's wake and seeing Miss Hilton's face in the crowd. That's what CDI is about. They aren't just there for you when you're applying to colleges, getting your acceptance letters, or filling out your financial aid forms. They're there for you every step of the way, even when life doesn't go quite as planned. I remember meeting with Ms. Hilton in her office sometime after to discuss my plans for going back to school. I was anxious about the future because I knew I wanted to make a big change. It was a time when I needed to be closer to family, and I also knew that my experience, as difficult as it was prompting me to reevaluate my future. I was inspired by the selflessness and compassion of the nurses I met, and it was then that I decided I wanted to pursue a career in nursing. But I knew that making this decision would mean I wouldn't graduate according to my perfectly planned timeline. But I remember Ms. Hilton telling me it was going to be okay, and that CDI was there to help and to support me in whatever decision I decided to make. So that day, we made a list of schools closer to home where I could complete my pre-nursing prerequisites. I was accepted and transferred to UMBC, where financial aid covered most of my tuition. Fast forward 2 years later, and I was finally ready to apply to nursing school. I was accepted into one of the top nursing programs in the country at the University of Maryland School of Nursing. Hearing CDI's advice in my head to apply to scholarships whenever possible, I applied to and received the Conway Scholarship, a full-ride scholarship to complete my nursing degree. I'm happy to say that after many early mornings and late nights, I have completed my first year of nursing school and expect to graduate next spring. This summer, I will also be working as a student nurse patient care technician on a medical surgical oncology unit at Dimensions Healthcare. My college journey has been a difficult one, filled with challenges, setbacks, and loss. However, God has also blessed me with an invaluable support system, including CDI. That has made all the difference in motivating me to continue working hard to reach my goals. I want to conclude with a quote by Victoria Erickson for my fellow first-generation college students who may feel discouraged at any point during their college career. Your story isn't calm. The road has been chaotic at times, filled with detours and rain and loss so sudden and soon. Sometimes the bliss was so elevated, your heart could hardly hold it. Sometimes it was maddening to have and then to lose. You learn soon enough that it hardly ever goes as planned, gentle, easy, and smooth. But that, my friend, is what makes you fascinating. Your stories, you're made of stories within even more stories. You have something to tell, something you've walked through, something courageous, something true. Thank you.